And joining us now is producer Wes Rickards with a preview. Wes, there is so much to talk about with this virus. How did you decide what to focus on?
You know, Heather, this virus is SARS coronavirus 2, and you and I both are aware of SARS coronavirus 1. That was the one that had devastated East Asia between 2002 and 2004. I believe that there were 8,000 cases, and of those infected, about 10% of them have died. When there were reports in 2019 of a mysterious new pneumonia circulating around Wuhan, there were fears of a SARS-1 repeating itself. And I believe that the fears of that happening again was what led to a lot of the decisions that were made in the early days of this virus. And in an effort to quell the fears of that virus, it helped exacerbate the spread. And that's really what we wanted to focus on.
Well, it's so fascinating because, of course, we're still dealing with the virus, but we're already talking about the history of the virus and its origins. And that's what I think this documentary does such a good job with. In doing the research for it, what were some of the things you learned that surprised you?
One of the things that I learned was the level of the cover-up. Some of the decisions that were made by the communist Chinese government in early January, I mean, they're frankly mind-boggling, and it's a big reason why the virus spread so far so fast. Another thing that I found to be chilling was that we were warned. And I'm not just talking about in December of 2019 when we had whistleblowers saying that there was another coronavirus on hand. I'm talking about for the last 15 years since SARS-1, there were people out there who said that we were at risk for another global pandemic. And unfortunately, we did very little to heed that warning.
Well, one of the takeaways that I got just from reading the script of this documentary is that people really need to be cautious about exposure to wild animals. So what do we know about animals and COVID-19 at this point in time?
Well, this is really important, okay? 70% of all viruses, not just talking about COVID-19, I'm talking about all viruses, will come from some sort of wildlife or exotic creature. You go back to SARS-1, and what happened with that one was that the virus jumped from bats to an animal known as a civet cat, and then from civet cats, it went to humans. And the reason it went from civet cats to humans was that civets were being served in restaurants, I believe in the Guangdong province. You're getting back into COVID-19, and it's a similar sort of chain that happened. You had bats, likely some intermediate animals such as a pangolin, before it jumped to humans. There are questions about a possible exposure from a wet market or a corner where there were animals being sold in an exotic animal stall. Even if not, the conditions at those exotic animal stalls and the conditions because of the wildlife trade, those are the necessary conditions, the ideal conditions necessary for a virus to jump from a host to a human.
All right. Well, really fascinating, Wes, and so relevant for where we're at right now to understand how we got here. Thanks for producing this and your time right now.
Thank you so much, Heather. Appreciate it.